I'm Georgie from Teacher's Friend, and for the past 12 years, I've been teaching and traveling the world, experiencing the freedom and adventure that comes with it. I've visited 22 different countries and taught in 7 of them, living the kind of life that many people dream of. Today, I'm excited to interview one of my ex-students, Katie, who shares how taking a TEFL certification was a life-changing decision for her. Whether you're craving new experiences, financial freedom, or the chance to work remotely while exploring the world, this is a conversation that you don't want to miss. Hello, this is
Hi,
Georgie
George.
from Teacher's Friend. Hey, Katie. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, Katie is one of my ex-students, and I have twisted her arm to get her to come and talk to you today about her experience with teaching English abroad. Katie, if you could just start by telling us a bit about where you're from and how you ended up teaching English abroad. I know that's not one of the questions, but I'm cheating. I'm going to ask you an extra question.
Okay, yeah, sure. So hello, I'm Katie. I'm from Cornwall in England, and I decided to teach abroad because after I finished my degree at university, I decided I didn't want to go straight into like the office workspace in England. I also
Fair.
needed to travel desperately. Yeah, I never did a gap year, so I think it was kind of the best option to be able to earn money abroad and travel. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I still remember when I went to do it and I kind of did my degree and I actually did my TEFL at the same time as finishing my degree because I was like, I want to travel, I want to like go all over. And that's basically how I got into teaching English abroad.
Yeah, well, I was actually lucky because my mum sort of it was during COVID, so I didn't have anything to do. And mum was like, "Oh, have you heard of TEFL? Like, do you fancy doing this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I could waste some time." But actually, it turned out to be like the best waste of my time that I did.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
really good.
that a lot of people worry about like, going abroad and how it's going to affect their career and what it's going to look like if they have a gap. But actually, yeah, it ends up either that like worst case, you get like so many skills that you didn't know you were going to get. But best case, I think it can change the direction of your life.
Yeah, I think it would have done the latter for me. Like, I've just returned home and the weather is miserable, and, I'm just thinking, "Why did I leave? Like, why did I come home?" But, yeah, it's crazy that I just want to keep going now. Yeah, it's not ending.
Good, good. So I guess one of my questions was, how has immersing yourself in different cultures while teaching shaped your outlook on work, but also like on life in general?
Well, I think, for, like, the teaching aspect, I definitely had to adapt my methods and expectations because I taught in Bali, and, the students there are very multicultural, but also they're very well known for being so laid back
Barley
and relaxed.
time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I had to, definitely adapt and be more open-minded, more flexible to their needs. I also taught a range of, religions as well, so I had almost every religion in one class at one point.
That's
You
so
definitely
cool. Like to
so
be able,
cool.
because I didn't know anything about like I'm not religious at all. And so I
Mhm.
think you learn so much about all these other religions when you like travel and like expand and just like the little rituals that the schools do. Because obviously we don't have that in England. Like I went the school I did, like sometimes we'd sing hymns. That was about the extent of it.
No, and what was so wonderful about my school, they were so caring for everyone's needs. Like during Ramadan, I learned so much about Islam faith. And also, I've just learned so much about other religions through my young students because I taught teenagers. They're very curious about my own faith, which I'm probably quite similar to you. We had some very open conversations, but you learn so much from just 13-year-olds. It was amazing.
I think that's something that I realized, like teaching kids, like anywhere from like 6 years old all the way up to like 17. Like you're kind of like, oh, they're kids, like, but you learn, just as much from them as you do from teaching adults, I think.
Definitely. And I think also, in my experience, the Balinese way of life embraces a lot of simplicity and just contentment with what you have. So I think I've learned to appreciate my family a lot more and my community back at home. Yeah, I definitely appreciate their way of life and how they've they've definitely taught me some things about appreciating
Mm.
this.
Yeah, I think because obviously I've been in Asia for a while. I remember I I was watching these people play cards, and they were like, I don't know, maybe early 30s, and they were playing cards. And I was like, are they drunk? Because they just looked like they were having the time of their life. And they were like completely sober, just like hysterically laughing and playing cards. And I think because in Asian culture, often it's very like work hard, play hard. So like they
Mm,
work a lot. And so they make so much time like they'll go to a cafe, for example, and just have like the best time of their life because they don't get that much free time. So like they really make the most of it when they get it. And that's something that I definitely learned as well.
that's so true. And especially like the majority is of Hindu faith, and they just dedicate like the whole weekend to their temple. Like it is quite fascinating how when I was their age at 13, I was not dedicating time to a temple. But I
Yeah.
have respect for them at that age to follow
Yeah.
their. That is lovely.
Yeah, definitely, definitely family values. I think we all need a bit more of that. So,
For
what
sure.
advice would you give to someone who's not sure about teaching English, but who wants to travel and explore the world? Because I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't know about teaching kids, or I'm worried about my career. So, what would you say to those people?
I think, well, to put it simply, I'd say just do it
That's
because
my
I
catchphrase too. There's so often I'm like, just do it. Like, you don't know what you're missing.
exactly. And also, you know, for me, the longest it would have been was a year and I could, break my contract. But also, you can find places that do like 6 months at a time, or you could even volunteer for a couple of months, but you never know how much you're going to love it until you just do it. Sometimes you just have to take like the leap and you learn so much about yourself and other people. It is daunting though. I understand that.
Yes, yes, it definitely can be daunting. What do you
Mm.
think for you? Was there anything that you were really daunted by that when you actually did it, you were like, oh, that was actually easier than I thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I think, well, when I came out, when you taught me, I hadn't done any in class teaching ever. So that was when I was on the flight, I was like, what if I actually
Can't teach.
crumble? But no, I think obviously you were a great teacher. So I did learn
Oh,
to
thank you.
gain and also, I just think anybody, you can just do it, just try it. And yeah, it was the best decision I made from my life.
Oh,
But
that's
also,
so good.
you'll meet friends along the way. I think that's also another daunting part is that you're going to a completely foreign country. But there's always going to be people like-minded to you. So yeah, I think
I think
it's
that's one
never.
of the, oh, sorry. I think that's one of the biggest things that I noticed is like up until normally this point, you've only met people either at school or university, and they're all in the same country, in the same town. But when you meet someone who, one, has chosen to teach English, and two, has chosen to teach it in that country, in that city that you're in, you find that you have more in common with them because
Yeah,
you've got similar values and you want to do a similar job. And so I find some of the friendships you make abroad are literally going to last you like for the rest of your life because you're so much more in tune with them than maybe you would be with someone that just happens to be in your hometown.
100%. And yeah, I think the best thing you can do is just to go into something like this with an open mind because you can't go there thinking, oh, I know what friends I like, I know what kind of students I want to teach. Like you have to go there with an open mind and everything falls into place somehow.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Our what was our motto on the course was trust the process. And so yeah, I like that you said that. Hi. I just wanted to jump into this video to let you know that there are millions of people all over the world that are eager to learn English from someone just like you. Teaching English can be your gateway to the life of freedom and flexibility that you've always dreamed of. So if you're ready to explore the world and do something different, then please click on the link below or somewhere around this video, and I'll give you the step-by-step guide and help and assistance in order to make your dream of teaching abroad a reality. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye. So, next question is, can you share a story about a memorable moment with your students that you think reaffirmed your decision to come and teach English?
Yeah, I mean, I have lots because I taught grade 8. So my teenagers were, yeah, characters to say the least. But I do have one story which I remember fondly. Was I was teaching a class and there was a girl who was visibly crying, and it wasn't disruptive at all, but she was doing her work whilst crying. Anyway, at the end of the class, I took her to one side outside and I was confused, as if maybe I'd upset her or she was upset with somebody else. And she ended up spending the entire lunch break with me, crying about how she just started menstruating, how she just started her period. And
Wow.
it was really, really heartbreaking that she was so confused, clearly. But also, I mean, I'm only 22 and I, I remember starting my period. And I just thought, like, how full circle this life has come around that now somebody's crying to me before I was crying to my mum. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. But we sorted her out and she was fine. But she seemed very grateful for that chat, that it wasn't
Yeah, it
so.
must be nice that I think as a teacher, often we end up teaching and mentoring and supporting and being a friend and all of these things. And I think it must be nice for you to have been in that position that she actually went to you and she wasn't just, oh, it's fine, I don't want to talk about it.
Mhm. I think also when you choose to teach somewhere like Southeast Asia, a lot of these female issues are quite taboo. So I got the impression she didn't feel comfortable speaking to one of the local teachers about this. And I got this impression from a few other students that it wasn't something that was an open conversation. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, just like sort of the sex education in general and like menstruation and all of that. It's just interesting that you kind of presume in your bubble that everyone's had the same education as you have. And then you realize like, oh, actually, like, wow, like imagine if I wasn't taught that or if I wasn't allowed to like talk about this as openly.
And I think leading on from that, I think to the previous question, you have to be so open-minded to the fact that they also aren't taught the same things about sexuality or marriage or gender roles and even race. I was definitely shocked at some of the words I heard about things which were far too, removed from their upbringing. Yeah, that's one thing that I would not warn, but you just have to be open-minded that
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the same upbringing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think I remember one of my friends came to visit me and we were just talking and some guy came up to us and started chatting and like a local person because when I was in Hanoi, I think this was a while like 10 years ago, but people would come up to me and just talk to me just because I was a foreigner. Like I couldn't walk around the
Mhm.
park without people being, "Hello, you speak English? Can you practice your English with me?" I'm like, so he came up to me, and my friend was there who was visiting, and we got into a conversation basically that this guy didn't have a passport. He couldn't afford a passport. And my friend was like, bless, my friend wasn't very well traveled, sorry, Sam, but he wasn't that well traveled. And he was like, this guy doesn't have a passport. And again, like just watching my friend have this realization, like, wow, like, and again, I think we take that for granted. And not only do we have a passport, but it gets us pretty much anywhere. And like
Yeah.
again, something that I realized was I've had a lot of people that have ended up in relationships, especially people from Asia, and they can't take their partner into like wherever they're going, like into their home country because their visas get denied. And I knew like obviously you have to get working visas, etc., that might be difficult, but I didn't realize that you could get tourist visas denied.
Mm.
I was just, I don't know, I was like, oh my God, I feel so ignorant. But again, like I think that's what traveling like does to you. Like it kind of stop you. You can't be ignorant because it's right in your face.
Yeah. And I think like if we have the privilege to travel, what a privilege it is to teach as well. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm so glad I didn't miss it. It was so good.
That's amazing and so good to hear. So, like, what kind of lifestyle were you able to create by teaching English abroad? And how do you think that compares to like the traditional 9-5 working?
Yeah, I mean, the lifestyle for me was just the best thing. Obviously, the teaching was fantastic, but I'd start at 7:30 and finish at 3 p.m. So it was a full school day, but when you finish at 3 p.m., then you have the whole evening to do what you want to do. And also, I mean, I was in Bali teaching, and the best thing about that was I could go to the beach, I could, read my book. I traveled with my boyfriend and he was surfing all the time. Got to try lots of new food, lots of Indonesian food. And yeah, I think just the weather also was the best thing. So I'm sat here looking out the window and it's raining in England.
And it's
And
only September. It's not even winter yet, officially.
like it's horrible. And yeah, when I look back at my time in Bali, I think just the weather, it makes you feel more healthy. I could also afford a healthier lifestyle because of the cost of living. Eating more fruit and doing
For
more
me, gym
exercise.
memberships, like
Yeah,
now I have like a full gym memberships, like all class pass. I've never had that.
yeah,
So that's, yeah, definitely a pro.
yeah. The gyms in Bali, especially, are out of this world. But I was just paying for like a regular gym membership, no saunas or ice baths. But it was like 50p a session if you wanted it. Like it was just so good. So yeah, cost of living is obviously a huge bonus. So yeah, I couldn't complain about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And so finally, what would you say to someone who's been considering a TEFL certification, but they're unsure if it's the right move, especially if they're like, I don't think I want to teach forever? Because I think for me, a big thing is I'm like, TEFL is like a doorway. Like TEFL opens up opportunities. Like you don't have to do it forever. It's just that stepping stone to get you traveling and get you paid. And so yeah, what would you say to those people?
I'd say do it.
It's our motto, just do it.
Yeah, and also I think just the opportunity to travel. Like, even though I was working a full school week, there are also schools where you do like 3 days a week. But anyway, I still had all the school holidays. I managed to spend a month in Vietnam. I went to Australia and Singapore, and you have to, it's just whilst you're on that side of the world, for me, I just had to do it, even on the weekends, because flights are cheaper over there just to travel around.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
opportunity. And like I said, I came out of university without really knowing what I wanted to do. But it has made me think, is teaching something I could do in England? But yeah, it definitely opens your eyes and it's so rewarding as well. It's very rewarding.
Oh,
I
that's
love
really good. Yeah, I definitely think the opportunities for travel. I remember at one point, I think at this point, I've been traveling for 3 years and teaching, and I did the maths. And for like a whole year of that 3 years, obviously not consecutively, I'd been traveling. And I was
Yeah,
like, wow, like you just can't say that, when you're like working a 9 to 5, like back home.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there are just so many benefits, like the lifestyle, and you're just the work-life balance is just out of this world compared to what I've worked in in England, that's for sure.
And do you think, did it give you any ideas of a job that you might want to do that wasn't related to teaching English for people that might want to do it as a starting point, but they know that maybe it's not something they want to do long term?
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many valuable life skills you learn from in the classroom, like whether it's classroom management. I'm actually taking a break from teaching now and I'm going to manage a hotel in France. So given this opportunity, I think I could probably transfer some skills. But also just, I think, working with kids or teenagers opens your eyes to, I think it takes a special sort of person to
Definitely.
work with kids and teenagers. So if it could open your eyes to something like social work or I don't know, anything to do with this, part of life, yeah, it can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, so the teaching side of it, but it doesn't have like coaching, mentoring, making a difference, like all of those paths. That doesn't necessarily have to be about English teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just I think the ability to be a good listener and to be open-minded and understanding, then it's got to get you quite far in life. I don't know yet, but I'm sure it will.
It will. I know for sure. Like the fact you're now going to like manage a hostel, like that's amazing. And I've had similar opportunities that have come to me because I taught English, but they're not necessarily anything to do with teaching English.
It's true.
I think that makes a big difference. And also like I taught adults, so I have taught kids, but a lot of what I did was teaching adults. And I think you know, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, but I don't really want to teach kids, like I've been teaching adults and it's the same thing. It's a different perspective,
Yeah.
but you still get that same like eye-opening, wow, like teaching someone. And like, because I've helped people like go on to go to universities, like go on to move different countries. And I think we talked about the travel aspect, but to give other people that ability to be able to travel because they can now speak English and they can get better jobs. Like, I just want to share this with as many people as possible. And so I think that's very rewarding as well.
That's so true. Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, but that does sound amazing.
Well, then maybe that can
Yeah.
be your next stop. While
Yeah.
you managing your hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always the opportunity just to teach online as well, if travel isn't, right for you at that stage in your life. So, the opportunities are quite endless.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm actually just making like an A to Z of like ESL jobs that you can do that aren't just like teaching kids in the classroom. Because I think
Oh,
there's
cool.
so many jobs out there that people like don't know exist to do with like teaching English. So that's my next project.
Oh, good for you. That's exciting.
I'll send it on to you.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It's been amazing talking to you. It sounds like you're, yeah, onto like the next adventure, which is super exciting as well.
Thank you.
So stay in touch. And yeah, I look forward to finding out what you do next.
Thank you, Georgie.
You're
Hope to
welcome.
see you.
Okay,
Bye.
I'll speak to you later. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. If this story inspired you and you're ready to take that first step towards a life of adventure and freedom, then go ahead and book a free consultation with me. I'll guide you through how to get started with your TEFL journey and help you make it a reality. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to stay updated for more tips and stories about teaching and traveling the world. I'm here to support you every step of the way. See you next time. Bye.